welcome to South Asia Today, a show that provides you the glimpses of South Asia. I'm your host, Shivangi Mishra. Let's begin with the headlines first. Pakistan has only itself to blame for India-Pakistan cricket matches stopping. Hop on, hop off bus service starts in Nepal, connecting 5 World Heritage Sites. And locals in Gilgit-Baltistan furious over corruption in flood relief funds. Let's begin the show. Team India playing a cricket match in Pakistan. The mere mention of this proposal is enough to elicit disbelief and incredulity. How can India, a victim that has lost more of its people to Pakistan-sponsored terrorism than to any hazard, any crisis, or any war, engage in a sports contest on Pakistan soil? India has unequivocally stated on several occasions that Team India would not entertain an India-Pakistan match on Pakistan territory, no matter how much the country pleads, provokes, or even threatens. If talks and terror cannot go hand in hand, does Pakistan really think cricket will happen? Have a look at how Pakistan is responsible for the near demise of the India-Pak cricket rivalry and why, despite their threats and provocations, Pakistan is said to lose a lot more than the privilege of hosting a few cricket matches.
The Pakistan Cricket Board, PCB, has threatened to boycott the 2023 Cricket World Cup, slated to be held in India in October and November, if the Indian cricket team doesn't visit them for the Asia Cup in September. A desperate Pakistan Cricket Board has also attempted to spin a narrative painting themselves as a victim, implying that India, the richest cricketing board globally, is wielding its monetary might by unjustly depriving the country of a level playing field. This allegation has been leveled despite a transparent administrative system in place with International Cricket Council, and the ICC having the exclusive authority to make decisions.
The India-Pakistan game is the biggest game in town. It's bigger than Australia-England. It's bigger than India-Australia. How can we jeopardize that by a stubbornness, without reason, without explanation? India not coming to Pakistan.
This statement from the PCB chairman was devoid of both facts and reason. Firstly, India has, on several occasions, said that it is Pakistan's unrelenting support of terrorism that compelled India to sever almost all trade, cultural, and have minimum diplomatic ties with Pakistan. Secondly, why would other teams who are traveling to Pakistan after a long absence perceive Pakistan as dangerous if Islamabad's agendas were directed at India alone? Some say that this statement is an example of Pakistan's textbook tactics of attempting to score brownie points with the international community. Others believe that a cash-strapped Pakistani cricket board is attempting to secure a bailout, something the country is all too familiar with. On top of all, however, is the news that the Asian Cricket Council, the regional administrative body, is exploring the possibility of shifting the tournament to another country.
Well, Pakistan is a lost cause. When the Sri Lankan team had gone there was bombing at the airport and then again at the stadium. Although we had a team from England going there and playing a series. But then it definitely is. Look at the turmoil that's happening at the moment because of Imran Khan. So there's a lot of uncertainty. And hence Pakistan is it's in shambles. The entire country is bankrupt. Leave alone talking about the Pakistan Cricket Board.
Pakistan, however, has not learned from past mistakes. The country is still one of the most unsafe places in the world to organize an international event. There seems to always be a number of incidents that continually undermine public safety in Pakistan. With Pakistan's track record, how could an Indian team feel secure enough to venture into Pakistani territory? Indian Foreign Minister Dr. Jaishankar had categorically said during the recent SCO summit that India cannot establish a relationship with those who support terrorism.
Victims of terrorism do not sit together with perpetrators of terrorism to discuss terrorism. Victims of terrorism defend themselves, counter acts of terrorism, they call it out, they delegitimize it, and that is exactly what is happening.
Cricket is more than just a game in India. It is India's national obsession and an immense source of pride. Cricket has a profound socio-cultural, political, and financial impact on over 1 billion Indians on Indian soil and abroad. Cricket in India holds a status akin to religion. There was a time when an India-Pak cricket match would be cherished by every cricket enthusiast in the country and by observers world over. Pakistani-backed terror incidents have occurred for a long time. However, India is no longer willing to overlook Pakistani-backed attacks in the name of sport.
टीम इंडिया को नहीं वहाँ जाना चाहिए। उन्होंने आना हो तो आए, नहीं आना है तो हमें कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता है, क्योंकि भारतीय टीम जो है वो भारतीय क्रिकेट जो है वो बिना पाकिस्तान की क्रिकेट के चल सकती है। पाकिस्तान की क्रिकेट को हो सकता है भारत की क्रिकेट की ज़रूरत हो, लेकिन इंडियन क्रिकेट को पाकिस्तान की क्रिकेट की ज़रूरत नहीं है।
When evaluating India's decision, be it from an ethical standpoint, through the considerations of public sentiment and national security, or simply assessing its symbolic significance, a resolute and unambiguous no has been and should be the only response. All Pakistan is left to stare at in this situation is yet another beatdown, this time involving more than just their cricket board.
Moving on. In cooperation with the Ministry of Tourism, the Nepal Tourism Board and Lalitpur Metropolitan City have launched a hop-on, hop-off bus service in Nepal. The new first-of-its-kind bus service is set to connect 5 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Hop-on, hop-off bus service is popular in cities like London and Paris. Have a look.
The Nepal Tourism Board and Lalitpur Metropolitan City, in cooperation with the Ministry of Tourism, have launched a hop-on, hop-off bus service connecting 5 World Heritage Sites. Lalitpur Mayor and the Minister of Culture, Tourism and Civil Aviation started the service for tourism promotion. Hop-on, hop-off bus service is popular in cities like London and Paris. Such services allow tourists to visit the city's tourist destinations for a day on a single ticket. The new bus, the first of its kind in Nepal, is set to connect 5 UNESCO World Heritage Sites in Kathmandu and Lalitpur. The route starts from Sagarmataha in Pulchok, which reaches Patan Darbar Square, Basantpur Darbar Square, Pashupatinath Temple, Bodhanath Stupa and Swayambhu. Also, those buses will make rounds of other important places such as the Narayan Hithi Palace Museum, the National Museum at Chauni in Swayambhu and the Taragaon Museum at Bodha.
सम्पदा भ्रमणमा चाहिँ अब नेपाली पर्यटक लगायत विदेशी पर्यटकहरूलाई पनि यसले निकै सहजीकरण गर्छ भन्ने हाम्रो भनाइरह्यो। कारण एउटै बस चढेर तपाईले चाहिँ यो काठमाडौँ भ्याली भित्रको यसमा लिस्टिङ गरेका सम्पदाहरुमा चाहिँ सबै ठाउँमा एकै दिन भ्याउने थोरै रकमले चाहिँ अब अहिलेको लागि त त्यो फ्री पनि छ। थोरै रकमले चाहिँ मतलब सम्पदाहरु भ्रमण गर्न पाउने भनेपछि त अब त्यो भन्दा उत्तम अर्को के होला र हैन। तसर्थ यसले चाहिँ निश्चित तवरले स्वदेशी तथा विदेशी पर्यटकहरुको निमित्त पनि यसले चाहिँ धेरै टेवा पुर्याउँछ।
The authorities have tied up with Saja Yatayat, a cooperative operated shuttle service, to run the buses on the road. 2 electric buses with semi-low flow that are easy to get on and off for people with different abilities will provide services free of charge for a week, as the rates for the service are yet to be finalized. The ticket prices will be fixed by the Department of Transport at a later date. As per the plan, visitors can spend 45 minutes or about an hour at a particular site, and they will get picked up by the next bus that reaches the area every 45 minutes. At one time, 46 people could travel on the hop-on, hop-off bus. Inside the bus, the visitors can get information about the sites they are visiting through the video clips and brochures.
Now we take a look at some happenings in Asia in a segment called Asia Watch.
Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese met Narendra Modi, his Indian counterpart, in Sydney to discuss regional security and economic ties, and signed a migration deal to boost Indian student and business travel to Australia. Albanese and Modi said the two Quad nations discussed trade, migration, renewable energy, and established a hydrogen task force to expand cooperation on clean energy. Modi also talked about taking the Australia-India Comprehensive Strategic Partnership to greater heights in the next decade. Australia, whose largest trading partner is China, is seeking to diversify its export markets, including forging closer trade ties with India through increased cooperation on mining and critical minerals. Hari Buddha Magar, the first double above-the-knee amputee to ascend Mount Everest, received a heroic welcome as he arrived back at Kathmandu. Rising out of a van, relatives and family members welcomed the 43-year-old record-holding retired Gurkha at Tribhuvan International Airport of Kathmandu. Last week, Magar created history as the first double above-the-knee amputee to scale the 8,848.86 meters tall Mount Everest, the highest peak in the world. The former British Gurkha, who lost his legs to the Taliban-implanted bomb during deployment in Afghanistan, had summited the Everest on artificial legs on May 19, 2023. The British Army veteran, who had lost his legs in 2010 during a mission in Afghanistan, had fought a legal battle against the government of Nepal in the last decade against the decision to keep amputees off Mount Everest. The Supreme Court scrapped the government's decision allowing him to climb the highest peak just before the pandemic. Magar was prepared by then, but had to wait for another 3 years to reach the top of the world's highest peak. Preparing himself for the summit, the record-holding climber in the year 2022 had skydived from a helicopter in the Khumbu region, as well as trekked up to the Everest base camp on his prosthetic legs, laying up the foundation for his dream to be the first above-the-knee double amputee to climb the highest mountain on earth. The record-holding climber and the Gurkha veteran is set to return to the UK this week. A massive protest erupted in South Korea's capital Seoul against Japan's push for its controversial nuclear-contaminated water ocean discharge plan from the crippled Fukushima nuclear plant, despite intense international outcry. Protesters gathered in the streets of central Seoul, chanting slogans and holding placards condemning Japan's planned move. Representatives from various civic groups and opposition political parties, including the Democratic Party and the Justice Party, also delivered speeches calling on the South Korean government to come forward to prevent Japan from polluting the sea. Protesters said the ocean discharge plan, once pushed through, will cause serious harm to the marine ecology and the health of human beings and future generations. It is thus extremely irresponsible for Japan to discharge such kind of pollutants into the precious resources shared by mankind without considering the consequences. With tainted water rapidly filling shortage tanks at the crippled power plant to capacity, the Japanese government said in January this year that over 1 million tons of tritium-laced wastewater will be released into the Pacific over a 30-year period from 2023. Japanese electronic car maker Spark are celebrating after their production vehicle broke 2 speed records and reached speeds of nearly 200 miles per hour. The Owl was put through its paces at Alvington Airfield in northern England, grabbing Guinness World Records for average speeds over a quarter and an eighth of a mile. The hypercar can accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 1.72 seconds, has a top speed of 260 miles per hour and a range of about 250 miles, and takes 40 minutes to charge. Based in Osaka, Japan, Spark has been working on the development of the Owl electric ultra-performance vehicles since 2015. It is a growing company and has more than 3,500 employees and 25 offices worldwide. The record took place under the auspices of the UK Timing Association at Elvington Airfield, Yorkshire, at the Straight Liners Speed Records event.
Over 7 decades have passed and the people of illegally occupied Gilgit-Baltistan are still leading their lives in deprivation. The authorities every now and then make promises and extend sympathy for the plight of the people they themselves subjugate. As ironic as that may be, Pakistan is a two-faced Janus that leaves no stone unturned in making people's lives a living hell. In a recent episode, the people of Gilgit-Baltistan expressed their anger over flood relief funds that were promised but never delivered to them. Take a look.
The people of illegally occupied Gilgit-Baltistan have been bearing the brunt of Pakistan's self-absorbed attitude that has left them completely susceptible to corrupt governance. The administration of Gilgit-Baltistan is accused of working hand in hand with Pakistan to siphon off the resources and funds to Pakistan, leaving the people in Gilgit-Baltistan with little to nothing. Recently, the locals in illegally occupied Gilgit-Baltistan expressed their angst towards the authorities for failing on the promises made after massive floods hit the region last year.
यहाँ पर ये सैलाब आया और इसने जो तबाही मचाई, 12 घर दरियाबुर्द हो गए, कीमती अराजी लोगों की दरियाबुर्द हो गई। तो उस वक्त हुकाम हवाला साहब सब इधर आए थे, हुकाम आए थे वज़ीर आला से लेके नीचे तक सब आए थे, पटवारी हजरात सब आए थे, लेकिन उसके वो जाने के बाद यहाँ पर कोई काम का आगाज़ नहीं हो गया। बिलाखिर हम मजबूरन रोड पे आ गए। रोड पे आने के बाद एहतजाज किया, धरना दिया, फिर आगे से कुछ फ़ंड इस प्रोजेक्ट के लिए रिलीज़ हो गया वज़ीर आला की तरफ से। तो लेकिन जो अवामी उमंगों के मुताबिक ये काम नहीं हो गया और इन्होंने खुद अपनी तरफ से एक इंजीनियर भी लाया, उसने भी इधर वो इस तरह ये इसका जो खतरा है वो इस तरह हो सकता है, टल सकता है, उसने सर्वे किया, उसके मुताबिक भी ये काम नहीं किया इन लोगों ने। तो बिलाखिर हमने दिखाया तो वो भी इन लोगों ने नज़रअंदाज किया, एक्सीएन ने नज़रअंदाज किया, नीचे जितने अफराद थे सब नज़रअंदाज किया।
According to the locals, after their houses were destroyed in floods, promises were made to them, but the authorities never bothered to walk the talk. The fund that was sanctioned to build a flood preventive structure in the affected area never reached the ground. Even after an expert engineer recommended a flood prevention project in the area, the authorities paid no heed, as it seems they have no concern or sympathy for the plight of the people.
अभी ये आप मुशाहिदा कर सकते हैं, 15 फुट भी ये गहराई में इन्होंने खुदाई नहीं किया और 150 फुट भी ये चौड़ा नहीं है ये स्पिलवे। तो लिहाजा इससे इलाके के अवाम जो है वो मुतमईन नहीं है, हम सब मुतमईन नहीं है। ये बजाय इसके कि इससे कोई ख़तरा हमारा टल जाए हमारे इलाके से, उल्टा ये हमारे लिए बाइस खतरा बन गया है। ये अब इससे अब ये नाले में दरिया का बहाव में इजाफा होगा, उस वक्त फिर ये इस तरफ आएगा, दोबारा आबादी की तरफ दरिया का रुख होना है। तो इस वजह से हम इससे मुतमईन नहीं है इस प्रोजेक्ट से।
With the corrupt state system and corrupt authorities in place, hope for the people in illegally occupied Gilgit-Baltistan seems dim. For years, Pakistan has only plundered its resources and has turned the ecologically abundant region among the most poverty-ridden regions of South Asia.
India is blessed with varied topography, beautiful flora and fauna, and picturesque views, which has made it one of the most desirable tourist destinations in the world. Today, we will take you on a journey to experience the best of nature with the Bilimora-Waghai narrow gauge train in Gujarat. Running between Bilimora in Navsari district to Waghai, the train crosses dense forests and the Saputara hill range, leaving the passengers spellbounded. India has emerged as one of the biggest tourist destinations around the world. From age-old architectural marvels to lush green forests, each region in the country offers a one-of-a-kind experience to all travel buffs. Running for the last 111 years, the Bilimora-Waghai narrow gauge train has always been a centre of attraction for tourists. The train runs between Bilimora in Navsari district of Gujarat to Waghai in the southern part of Gujarat and provides a breathtaking view of dense forests, lush green flora and brooks.
अभी ये जो मौसम बहुत अच्छा है और दिस इज़ द बेस्ट रूट है जिससे हम ट्रैवल कर सकते हैं और अराउंड द नेचर, क्लोज टू नेचर हम रह सकते हैं। और डांग की जो पूरी खूबसूरती है वो इससे हम देख सकते हैं कि क्या है। ये ट्रेन के बारे में पहले हमने नहीं सुना था, पर एक मैगज़ीन आता है जिसमें हमने पढ़ा था इसके बारे में, इसकी जर्नी के बारे में और कैसे ये कितना किलोमीटर डिस्टेंस कवर करती है और कितना नेचर होता है वो सब। तो एक मैगज़ीन के थ्रू हमें पता चला था ये।
The train passes through the picturesque views and the Saputara hill range and leaves the passengers spellbounded. During monsoon, when the sky is covered with blue clouds, the train passes through a bridge, providing a mesmerizing view for the passengers to remember. The 62-kilometer track of this route was laid by the British at the instance of the Sayaji Rao Gaikwad in 1913. It was to be a part of Gaikwad's Baroda State Railway, the railway line owned by the princely state of Baroda, ruled by the Gaikwad dynasty. The train passes through a total of 9 stations, including those of Gandevi, Chikhali Road, Kala Amba, Unai, Dholi Kua, and more. Passengers and tourists rejoice the journey as they take their time out from the urban lives of relishing the beauty of nature.
बहुत बढ़िया है। अभी मैं आने वाला है उससे पहले बहुत बढ़िया है। मैं कोविड पहले से प्लान कर रही थी ये ट्रेन में आने के लिए, तो मुझे बहुत ऐसे है कि नहीं मैंने जाना है। मैंने यूट्यूब देखा, फिर सब लोग का फ़ोटोज़ देखा, तो वही से मुझे ऐसा है कि नहीं मुझे ये ट्रेन में मुसाफरी करनी है और मुझे एंजॉय करना है मेरे फैमिली के साथ। तो एटमॉस्फेयर आज बारिश का है तो बहुत बढ़िया है। क्या है कि बारिश आ रही है, मैंने बहुत सारे फ़ोटो खींचे, फैमिली के साथ है, ब्रदर सिस्टर है, पेरेंट्स है, बाहर बहुत बढ़िया सीनरी आ रही है, तो बहुत बढ़िया है यार। एटमॉस्फेयर तो बहुत बढ़िया है, बारिश भी मौसम बहुत बढ़िया है।
In order to add to the experience of the passengers, the train includes an air-conditioned Vista Dome coach for spectators to enjoy the beautiful views in a much comfortable way.
लोगों के पास से भी सुना कि ये ट्रेन में सफ़र करने वाले की संख्या अभी बढ़ गई है। बढ़ गई इसलिए कि उसका न्यूज़पेपर में, चैनलों में जब न्यूज़ आया तब से लोगों को जिज्ञासा हो गई। अभी ये एक कोच लगता था, आज 2 कोच लगाए हैं। लोग सैटरडे संडे एवरी यहाँ प्रवास करते हैं। और हमें भी इच्छा हुई हमारे दोस्तों के साथ में, हम देखो आज पूरा कोच भरा हुआ है हमारे दोस्तों के साथ में, तो हम इसमें सफ़र कर रहे हैं, देख रहे हैं हम तो ग्रीनरी, मोर दिख रहे हैं, सब आजू बाजू में, बहुत मज़ा आ रहा है।
Apart from serving as a big tourist attraction for the scenic beauty of the area, the train is also an important means of transport for local tribals for transporting their elegantly crafted bamboo works. It's time for me to wrap up today's episode. We'll be back next week at the same time. This is Shivangi Mishra signing off on the behalf of the entire production team of South Asia Today. Goodbye and take care.